So at the start of the Revolutionary War, many people at this time were arguing over rights and representation, but many of the people living in the colonies still wanted to be loyal to King George III and England. But then as you get closer to the year 1776, things start to change. The war begins, the battles take off, and many people who are living in the colonies are changing their hearts and their minds. And in January of 1776, Thomas Paine writes a pamphlet called Common Sense. And in this pamphlet, he talks about how it is a necessity that we in the colonies separate from King George III and become an independent nation. Now, prior to this, people were talking about independence, but nobody had really thought about it as a tool to argue for rights and freedom, until Thomas Paine writes it in his pamphlet. What's really interesting about this pamphlet is the first time it's actually printed is in Philadelphia, just a few blocks from the museum, actually at Robert Bell's print shop. Now, while you have this document that's arguing for the ideas of the revolutionaries, you also have many loyalists living here in the colonies. And one loyalist in particular, James Chalmers, writes a pamphlet called Plain Truth. And in this document, he talks about his love for his mother country, meaning Great Britain, and he writes passionately about how we need King George III and we need a monarchical system in order to govern ourselves. So these documents were printed. You could read them in the pamphlet way that you have here separately. One is Common Sense and one is Plain Truth. But one person in particular, John Almon, actually took both of these pamphlets and bound them together in one book. And this allowed the people in England to be able to read what these colonists were arguing for, what these revolutionaries were arguing for, and if they actually did deserve independence from King George III and England.